The man never expected that the initial skill he had when he crossed over would be this powerful. Just level 1 and it allowed him to instantly kill the monster at the bottom of the dungeon. Although he had saved all his classmates from the brink of death, when he returned he was framed as a murderer. And the one who died was Saran, who had treated him so kindly. It was because the weapon used to kill was the same as the one he had used in the dungeon. He originally thought he would explain, but seeing the princess's smirk, and recalling the curse that had been placed on the hero earlier, he realized that the whole class had been controlled. And the reason was that his existence had been exposed. The king wouldn't allow anyone to exceed his control, but no one knew that his breath concealment skill had reached max level. In the eyes of others he had disappeared. He could escape at any time, so he took the opportunity to ask Saran's assistant what had happened, but it wasn't the time to talk. The assistant only told him that Saran had left something for him in the room. Once he took it he would understand everything. It turns out that Saran had already anticipated this situation. After receiving the items left behind, he had gone alone into the dungeon. This was what Saran had told him in a letter. If one day he was hunted down, the dungeon would be the best hiding place for him, and killing monsters there could level him up. Right now what he lacked the most was just that. Saran believed that with his talent, which was even higher than the hero's, he could definitely level up to max here then leave. At that point he would become truly powerful as an assassin. The letter also mentioned that the one who killed Saran was the king's assassination squad. It also mentioned that the princess had the ability to curse people, but the condition was to know their stats. This was why the king had to check everyone's abilities at the beginning. Fortunately he had been cautious and used breath concealment to avoid danger. Akira knew it was probably his fault that Saran had been dragged into this, so he decided to follow Saran's final wish and level up here to max level before returning for revenge. And Saran truly hadn't underestimated his abilities. In just a few days he had reached level 46. His stats were more than 10 times stronger than the hero's, but when he reached level 75, he encountered a strange slime, a weak monster, yet it existed so deep in the dungeon. After killing it, something unexpected happened. A high-level elf girl was revealed inside. Actually, more accurately, she had been swallowed by the slime not long ago. This was the perfect opportunity to try out his untested skill, World Eye. He thought it was a skill to identify things, but what he saw instead was a vision of his entire class dying, and his brain felt like it was exploding. He quickly closed the skill, but at the same time he saw the elf's abilities. Just then the elf woke up. Strangely, the first thing she did upon seeing him was to recognize his name. It was as if they had known each other for years. This made him think of the ability he had just seen. It turned out that the elf had the same World Eye, and it was even at a higher level than his. This might be why the elf recognized him. At the same time his stats were also exposed. Since the elf's condition was off, Akira decided not to rush into the dungeon, and instead he returned to a water source level to take care of the elf. This was also why he had been able to survive these past few days. Every few levels in the dungeon there was a water source, and food was from the supplies Saran had left him. He had planned to continue leveling up once the elf recovered, but to his surprise the elf was determined to follow him. She had come to the dungeon for similar reasons. However, what they didn't expect was that the boss on level 80 would be a dragon. It was on a completely different level compared to the monsters they had faced before. This made them feel like they were facing a true enemy. It's worth mentioning that the elf was no weakling. After all, she had made it to level 75 alone. With her support, Akira was able to fully utilize his strength. But what neither of them had expected was that the dragon was even weaker than they imagined. It was killed instantly with just one hit. As they were puzzled, the dragon visibly shrank in front of them. Meanwhile, not long after Akira left, the hero also secretly left with 6 other classmates. The reason was that their curses had been lifted, and they realized that something was seriously wrong with the kingdom. One of them had a blurry memory. He only remembered smashing 7 crystals in a strange room. That was the princess's method of controlling them. The situation was so complicated because it had been done by Saran's assistant, who had used the suggestion skill to secretly send the 7 away. The reason they hadn't lifted everyone's curse was that the number was too large and would be noticed by the king.